Do you recall sometime after the conference talking to her about what she and Chad discussed?
Yes.
What were some of the things she shared with you?
He shared with her, according to what she shared with me, that
Your Honor, if I may respond.
Grounds to the objection. Ms. Blake, you may respond.
Your Honor, it's a statement of a party opponent as well as a charged co-conspirator.
All right, the court does find that's an exception to the hearsay rule that applies here, so the witness can answer the question. Objections overruled.
And do you recall the question?
yes. She said that they talked about multiple lives, and I believe she talked about, how many lives that she had lived on this earth, and that she indeed was married to someone named Moroni in a previous life. Those kind of conversations. Yeah.
And did she say anything regarding what Chad had told her about she and Chad?
That they had been married in previous probations.
Did Lori seem receptive of that information?
She did.
Did Lori at any time tell you anything about she and Chad when he was down there in Arizona?
Yes, she told me that they had been married before in previous probations.
Is that when she first shared that information with you?
I believe she shared it with me in St. George. So it's between St. George and November, she shared it.
Did she talk about going to the temple with Chad?
She did.
What did she tell you about that?
She told me that they were going to be resealed again like they had been in previous lives together.
And did she tell you that they in fact had gone to the temple?
Yes.
And that was in November, about a month after meeting each other.
That's right.
Do you know what Chad did for a living?
He was a sexton and he wrote books.
With regard to his books, had you ever read any of his books?
Yes.
Do you know if Lori had read any of his books?
Yes.
Did she seem interested in his books?
Yes.
At some point, did Chad or Lori talk to you about the concept of light and dark?
Yes.
Do you recall who talked to you about that?
Lori shared it with me.
Did she tell you where she got that information from?
She got it from Chad.
What did she share with you about the concept of light and dark?
So if someone was light, they had made contracts with Jesus Christ before they came here. And if they were dark, they had made contracts and promises with Satan. And it was a different scale level of how dark or light they were.
So it was a decision before they came here to Earth?
Yes.
Contract?
Initially, yes.
And then with regard to the multiple probations, as you learned more about that, what did Lori share with you regarding multiple probations?
That people lived multiple times. And then she would find out, she would try to find out like when that was.
And was there some kind of a rating system or a system to easily identify if someone was light or dark or what level they were?
She would ask him and he would somehow find out. And he would find out, how many times they'd been on this planet or any other planets, I guess. And he would just find that out by asking questions the way he did. And then she would share it with us.
And the he you're referring to, is that Chad?
Yes.
At some point, were people designated with a number and then either an L or a D?
Correct.
Where would those designations originate?
From Chad.
And if someone was designated a D, did that stand for dark?
Correct.
And the L was for light?
Correct.
At some point, did Lori also share with you that she believed she had a mission here on Earth?
Yes.
What did she share with you she believed her mission to be?
She felt that it was her mission to gather women to the 144,000, and that she would be the leader of it. At some point, she thought she was going to lead that.
And when we talk about the 144,000, what's that in reference to? Could you explain a little bit?
Yes, it's a biblical explanation for a certain amount of people that would go out and gather Israel in the last days and have the power and authority to do that.
So gathering people in the end times.
Correct.
Do you know where Lori got the idea or the belief that she was meant to be one of the leaders or help gather?
I think she got it from herself.
Do you know if did she ever tell you if she talked to Chad about that?
She did.
What did she tell you in relation to that, if you recall?
Well, she shared with him what she believed she was, which was the gatherer of that. And then he agreed that she was. And so he, told her that that's what her mission was.
Did Lori or Chad ever talk to you about if a person could switch from being light to dark or vice versa?
Yes.
What did they tell you regarding that?
That they might be light, for example, and then some maybe evil entity could enter them and then they would become dark.
Do you recall the first person she talked to you about becoming dark? The first specific person?
Yes, it was Charles Fallow.
Did she tell you where she received that information?
Yes, she received it from Chad.
At some point, did she talk to you more about what it meant if the evil spirit came in, like where the actual person went?
So when a dark spirit would take over, the original spirit of the person would go into the spirit world.
And that's what she originally told you.
That's right.
And did she tell you she received that information from Chad?
Yes.
So was your understanding the body of that person was still alive?
Correct.
It just had a different dark spirit in it now.
Correct.
What did Lori originally talk to you about? Was there a way to do something to help that person?
She would try to do like a casting out of an evil spirit, and try to convince the spirit to the evil spirit to leave.
Do you know where she got the concept of casting from?
I believe she got it from energy work.
At some point, did you learn if Charles had been designated a different name?
Yes,
What was that name?
Ned Snyder.
Do you know where that name came from?
Chad told that to Lori.
At some point, had Lori talked to you about her having a dream regarding Charles?
Yes.
What had she told you?
She said that when it was after Christmas and he was out of town, I believe he went to Texas and he took JJ. And she had a dream during that time that they were not going to come back, that they were going to get in a car accident. And that's what she saw.
And that they would be Charles and JJ?
Correct.
Did she believe Charles was going to be killed in that accident?
She did.
Was Charles killed in a car accident?
No.
At some point, did you learn or did Lori tell you if he was labeled dark?
Yes.
And then we started talking a little bit about the idea of casting.
Right.
Did you ever participate in any castings?
I did.
Can you tell me a little bit about what would happen at the casting?
So Lori and a few of her friends would stand in a circle and then feel like they had the power and authority to cast out the evil spirit by trying to use words, I guess, like an energy work to be able to convince them to leave and hoping that the evil spirit would leave.
So would some of the individuals say a prayer?
Yeah. Mhm.
Would some of the individuals talk about sending spiritual weapons or something of that nature?
Yes.
Was the person that the casting was being done on physically present?
No.
Was anyone physically touching, doing anything to, in this case, Charles?
No.
Do you recall, did you participate in the castings for Charles?
Yes.
At any point, did Lori tell you whether or not the casting was successful?
Yes.
And what did she share with you?
She would say that Ned had left, and then shortly after, she would say somebody else got in, another entity.
Do you know who told her that information or where she got it from?
Yes, she got it from Chad.
And did she tell you that?
Yes.
At some point, did you learn what would happen to the body if the casting was actually successful?
She would say that the body was supposed to die if the evil spirit left.
So in Charles' case, Ned's out and a new spirit's in.
Correct.
Do you know if there were additional castings
Yes.
in relation to Charles, I should say?
Yes.
Did you participate in any additional castings?
Yes.
Was Chad ever present for any of the castings?
Yes.
Were there castings done on other individuals besides Charles that you know of?
Yes.
And who were some of those individuals?
Brandon Boudreaux was one that I know of.
And did you participate in a casting on Brandon Boudreaux?
I don't know if I said anything. I was there when they did it.
Do you know if Chad was present at that one?
Yes, he was.
Do you know if any castings were ever done on Tammy Daybell?
Yes.
Were you present for them that you recall?
I don't recall.
Do you know if castings were done on Tylee or JJ?
Not that I know of.
You were not involved in any if they were?
I don't recall any of that.
Is your understanding that if the casting was successful, the body would naturally expire?
Yes.
Were you ever told that there would be violence done to the body?
Never.
And you talked about her saying Alex was going to come to protect her.
Yeah.
At any point, did you learn if someone had designated Alex as Lori's protector?
Yes.
What did you learn about that?
So as Chad would share with Lori that his mission in life, according to what he learned, was to protect Lori. That was why he came here.
So Chad had designated Alex as Lori's protector,
That's right.
and Lori was going to have Alex stay to protect her from Charles.
I believe so.